newly launched grassroots group, Building Burlington's Future, wants to usher in a new chapter for the Queen City. For this episode of the 802 News podcast, host Mark Johnson sits down with leaders of the group to learn about their mission. Let's take a listen.
I think we and the citizens of Burlington recognize that the status quo is not cutting for us. There's some issues that we need to better address. And so the way that you address them is not simply to say, well, local government will address it, but to say that we, the citizens, need to take control.
Mark Johnson joining us now. Mark, to start, why did the group form? We did just hear from former Burlington Mayor Peter Clavelle about this group, who touched on it a bit, saying the status quo is not cutting it.
Well, I think there's a lot of frustration out there with the many problems that are going on in Burlington and also a lot of cities across the country. And I think really the formation of this group was to try to build a citizens group that can do some advocacy work. There's a lot of people that just say throw up their hands, but I think this group said, well, you can throw up your hands or you can actually try to do something.
Yeah, I mean, what did you learn about the next steps of building Burlington's future, so to speak?
Well, the first thing they're going to do is to try to build a membership, try to raise some money. I was impressed. They've already gotten pledges of about $1.3 million, and they're going to go after what they call the low-hanging fruit. For example, one of the things that they talk about doing is that the city charges fees to put on events down on the waterfront. And they've said, if you have events down on the waterfront, you're bringing a lot of people to the city, bringing a lot of energy into the city. A lot of people feel like, it's not safe to come downtown. But if you put on these events, then, you draw people. And one of the things they want to do is to try to get the city to lower or even waive the fees that are required for performers to put on these events, because some of these events have moved out of town.
Yeah, and we also hear about another organization in Burlington called Let's Build Homes. It's the new coalition that's encouraging more affordable housing. They're working with lawmakers on that. What do you think the real impact will be, if any?
Well, that remains to be seen. There are a number of initiatives, making the city more affordable, which is a moving target these days. One of the other things they've talked about is to try to empower city government, state leaders. One of the things that they've talked about, there was an ordinance or there was a charter change passed in Burlington twice that called for removing guns from bars. Seems like a kind of a no-brainer, but it was vetoed by the governor. So I think one of the things that they're going to look to do is to try to get legislators, put pressure on legislators, make them realize that Burlington is really the economic engine of the state and that these small measures can make a big difference. Getting the guns out of the bars isn't going to solve the problem, but it's just one brick in this wall of ideas that they have.
Awesome. Mark, thank you. And you can listen to the newest episode on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.